Hi, my name is John White, and Felicity Dale has asked me to make some comments about women in leadership, especially in the context of the house church, the growing house church movement. And I'm delighted to do that. I think I can do it best in the context of my own story. I was ordained as a Presbyterian pastor here in Denver in 1973 and served for the next 25 years in various Presbyterian churches. And especially early on, we had a theological conviction that women should not be in positions of leadership over men. So that meant we did not have women elders, no women senior pastors, all of those kinds of things. But over the years, my understanding of this issue has changed, and it's changed for two reasons. The first one is a change in my understanding of the nature of church, and the second is a change in my understanding of how to interpret certain passages of Scripture. So let me talk about both of those. First of all, the nature of church. For a long time, if you had said the word church to me, the picture that automatically, spontaneously came to my head was the church in which I became a Christian. An excellent church. The Fourth Presbyterian Church of Bethesda, Maryland. I met the Lord there. I was discipled there. And so church meant that church, and that's a red brick building with white columns in front, a steeple on top. We sat in pews, there were stained glass windows, pulpit, you get the picture. So that was church, right? It dawned on me one day that if you'd said the word church or ecclesia to Paul, his picture was very, very different. His picture was much more like a group of people in somebody's living room. And that realization drove me back to Scripture to study the New Testament to see what exactly church looked like there. And I've come to the conclusion that it was pretty different from my understanding for a long time. There are two words that are important in the Greek here. One is ecclesia, or church, and the other is oikos, which means household. It can mean the physical building in which you live, but it really means the family structure. Could be mom, dad, kids, aunts, uncles, even neighbors could be part of the oikos. It's a set of relationships. And what I saw was that in the New Testament, every church, every ecclesia was birthed and functioned in the context of an oikos. So we often say that there's a very simple equation that explains a whole lot of things, and that is that church equals family. All kinds of things grow out of that. My old understanding was that church was much more of an institution or an organization, and we had officers, we had elders who were elected to 3-year terms, and we had a book of order, and it was all very organizational. But it wasn't like that in the New Testament. It was very family oriented. And if it's true that church equals family, then it's also true, it follows from that leaders equal parents in the best sense of the word. So the leaders of churches in the New Testament were spiritual grown-ups. That's really what I think the word elder means. Presbyteros in the Greek simply means an older, more mature person. So I like to say a spiritual grown-up. And that they were both, I believe, both spiritual moms and dads. What kind of a family would it be if you only had dads who were leading? Now, there are going to be some families that have only fathers that are available, some that only have mothers, and those are still legitimate families. But obviously, if at all possible, it's best to have both moms and dads. And so that began to change my understanding of the role of women in the context of church, that we needed spiritual moms as much as we needed spiritual dads to form the leadership. In fact, I believe that a house church really is best started around the context of one or more spiritual parents. It really is a family that is formed around that kind of a mature individual, and hopefully more than one. So that's the first thing that changed.